Hey guys, it's Elias and welcome back to another video here on the channel. In today's video, I am going to be reviewing the third book in the best-selling Amari series by author B.B. Elston, and this novel is titled Amari and the Despicable Wonders. So, Amari and the Despicable Wonders, like I said, is the third installment in the Amari series. There is going to be two more books. So this is not the last one, but it is actually like the end of the first arc of the story of Amari. So in today's video, first I'm going to give you guys a summary of the story, and then I'll talk more in detail about my thoughts and my opinions, as well as at the end of the video, give you guys a ranking on the series. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the book. So Amari and the Despicable Wonders follows the story of Amari, who is a 13-year-old girl who has magical abilities. At the end of the second book, Amari and the Great Game, we find out that Amari has lost all of her magic, and that this evil magician by the name of Dylan Van Helsing has now become in charge of the League of Magicians. In this book, Dylan, since he is now the new ruler of the League of Magicians, it means that he is the most powerful magician in the entire world. And instead of planning to use his magic for good, Dylan wants to use his magic for bad. And this leads for him to start this huge war in the supernatural world. Now, Amari, being the strong, tough African-American girl she is, she decides that she wants to save the supernatural world and try to stop Dylan before he destroys everything that she loves, including her family and the entire world. In order to stop Dylan, Amari, alongside her brother Quentin and some of her friends from the Brew, have to go on this epic quest to try to find these artifacts known as the Despicable Wonders. The Despicable Wonders are, like I said, very powerful artifacts that, once you have them, can make you invincible. Now, Dylan wants to get these artifacts as well, but Amari is determined to get them first, because if Dylan gets them, then their endgame is basically over. Another important aspect in the story is we also learn more about Amari and her backstory a little bit more, and we also have a lot of more adventure and more mystery compared to the first two books, where they took more place at home. But when this book is more of a big quest and expedition. Now, honestly, Amari and the Despicable Wonders did not really meet my expectations. I had very high hopes for this book, but when I read it, I gotta say I was quite disappointed. The main reason behind this is because book 2 came out in August of 2022, and this book came out almost 2 years later, August of 2024. So it was a long gap between book 2 and 3. So it was a lot of time, waiting, and lots of time, reflecting. But then when the book came out and I read it, I was like, okay, I waited 2 years for this. Was it really worth the hype? Now, I'm not saying this book was bad. No, I feel like it definitely was the stronger book in the series. I feel like B.B. Elston really picked up his work. I feel like he did a better job, with descriptions, and a much better job building suspense. But at the same time, I feel like this book wasn't really a good book about war. The whole premises of this story, the whole idea of this book was supposed to be Amari trying to, battle and save the supernatural world. And there wasn't really much battling or much action-packed scenes at all. I thought, there was going to be a big Harry Potter Deathly Hallows fight at the end. I thought, there would be sword fighting and guns going off and explosions and all sorts of cool magic. But really, the only really battle that took place was at the end between Amari and Dylan, and even that was only 20 pages. So it definitely was, like I said, somewhat of a disappointment. The first two books were leading up to this, and it just didn't really fill my expectations. As I said, there is going to be 2 more books in the Amari series, but as for now, the first arc of the story is complete. When I was reading this book, I actually could see how this originally was going to be the last book in the series, because back in 2021, B.B. Alston only agreed to do a contract of 3 books, and this was going to originally be the last one. So when book 4 and 5 were announced, he kind of tweaked, what was going to be the final book. But still, I can definitely kind of see how this was going to be, the last book in the series, because everything from book 1 and 2 is coming together. So that's just a kind of observation I noticed. Trying to think of anything else I could say about the story. I feel like also on the quest, when Amari was trying to find these wonders, I feel like they didn't really have a huge expedition. I thought that, they would have to, fight through demons and go through, all of these challenges. When really finding the wonders was actually pretty easy. It wasn't even that difficult at all. All they had to do was just, find this magical teleporter. And once they went through there, they were able to get the wonders, all together. I thought, there'll at least be some more adventure where they're hiking and sleeping at hotels. But really, it was just kind of not really a big quest like you would expect from the story. I also thought that, we didn't really get a lot of Quentin in this story. In book 1, we find out that Quentin, who is Amari's brother, goes missing, and that he maybe possibly died. In book 2, he actually does come back, and at the end of the story, Amari and Quentin make a oath that they're going to fight together in this war. And then when I read this book, there was hardly any Quentin at all. It's like B.B. Alston just forgot the character. I thought that Amari and, Quentin would fight side by side and whatnot, when really, in the beginning of the story, Amari and Quentin got in an argument, and then we didn't really see them together till the end when they were hugging and apologizing. You basically spend books 1 and 2 waiting for the moment when they're going to fight together, and they don't even fight together? What the heck, guys? So yeah, there definitely is a lot of things that I would suggest B.B. Alston to tweak. This includes, the Quentin aspect, the battling aspect, and just the adventure in general. If I had to rate this scale on a book of 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 7. I feel like, like I said, it was definitely one of the stronger books in the series, but also a bit of a disappointment. But now, guys, I'm going to be doing a short ranking on the first 3 books. So, I'm going to rank them from worst to best. Okay. So, coming in at number 3, the worst book in the series is definitely Amari and the Night Brothers, which is the first book in the series. I feel like this one is not that good because it just is a lot of build-up for the series and a lot of, boring backstory. I thought, this book definitely could have been better, but the whole book was literally just Amari training at the academy. So that's number 3, the worst book in the series. Coming in at number 2, we have Amari and the Despicable Wonders, which I just did my review on, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But this definitely deserves a number 2 spot. Definitely better than Amari and the Night Brothers, but not as good as the next one on my list. And coming in at number 1, if you guys have read the series, you probably guessed it. It is Amari and the Great Game, the second book in the series. This book was just spectacular. I loved, Amari competing against Dylan in the Great Game. I thought it was really epic. And I just thought that the whole idea of this story was very well done. And definitely way more worth the hype than the third installment in the series. But yeah, guys, that is my book review on Amari and the Despicable Wonders. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have not tried the Amari series, I highly recommend it. It's very good. If you're a fan of Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, or like books about African-American protagonists, then this story will be perfect for you. I'm very excited about books 4 and 5 coming out. I don't know when book 4 is going to come out. B.B. Alston is one of those authors who is very inconsistent. He could publish a book 1 year and then wait 3 years for the next one. So I don't know when book 4 is coming out, but whenever it does, I am very, very happy to see where the future of Amari will go. I'm probably guessing that the next 2 books in the series are going to have some significant time jump. Since the first, 3 books kind of took place at the same time, I believe that the next 2 books will maybe take place in the future or at least 5 years apart. But wherever the books go, I am going to read them, and I am excited to see what B.B. Alston has in store for these characters. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another video. Peace out.